Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We're so happy to have you, and especially to have Caitlin here. Hi.
Hi.
So, Caitlin is an executive and partner at a Fortune 500 company, and she has been in this role for 4 years, and she's been in the company for over a decade. She's now a wife and a mother of two, and the author of Young, Ambitious, and Rising, a young woman's guide to executive leadership and family life that will be out soon, so stay tuned. I'll send Caitlin LinkedIn's on the chat so you can just follow when the book will be out. So I'll let her introduce herself a bit more right after I talk to you about Women in Tech Canada and Women in Tech Global. So, Women in Tech is a global movement with a mission to empower 5 million women and girls in STEM by 2030. Founded in 2018 in Paris, we now operate in more than 65 countries, including Canada, of course. So, to be part of this global community, you can join us via the WithHub platform, where you will find everything you need from key information to upcoming events. And one upcoming event that we have is happening very soon, guys. On September 9, Montreal will host the Women in Tech North America Awards, bringing together women and allies from Canada and the United States to celebrate impact and leadership in tech. And nominations for the awards are now open, giving you the chance to submit candidates and be part of this moment. So I'll just send you in the chat the link where you can just fill up the form and submit candidates. So also note that we'll have a Q&A at the end of the session, so you can put your questions in the Q&A section at any time, and we will answer them at the end. So now, Caitlin, hi, I'm so happy to have you here today.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Of course. And now, Caitlin, can you please introduce yourself a bit? Tell us who you are beyond the title, like your life, your family, your day. Today, we want to know everything.
Yeah, absolutely. So, hi everyone. Nice to meet you. My name's Caitlin Mouland. I am in my mid 30s. I am a partner with Fortune 500 company, so IBM. I am a wife to my husband Scott. We met in high school. We still live, within 5 minute radius of where we grew up and lived as we were growing up. So, fun little fact. I have two kids, a daughter who is 4, Mackenzie, and a son who is 2, turning 3, Ryan. So very, very busy back at home. I, outside of work, I was really big into sports as I was growing up throughout high school and university. I grew up on a horse farm. I ride now, so I have one personal horse. Ride, 3 to 4 times a week. Compete fairly competitively, and really, really enjoy doing that because it's the one avenue I have outside of family life and work that I'm able to just solely focus on something else outside of work when the craziness is happening or you're dealing with some stressful situations. I can just go and ride and really enjoy that. So I'm here to share my experience, share how I manage it. I don't have it all figured out. Nothing's perfect, but really on this journey to help others who are trying to figure out their path and their journey forward.
Thank you. And you said path journey. I hear you, and I feel like I want to know more. So can you tell us how did you go from new graduate to partner at a Fortune 500? So like you said, IBM. Like tell us how you went there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I went to university at Carleton University here in Ottawa. I did a 4 years bachelor in commerce. At that time, I didn't know what I wanted to do as a career. Someone gave me some advice. I think it was a friend of my parents that it's a really safe bet to go and get an education and learn about business because in every avenue of your career, sometimes your personal life, you'll face some aspect of business management. And so I went and did a general in commerce. And out of that, I had some opportunities with some of the large banks in Canada. I had an opportunity with a couple of consulting firms. Ended up joining IBM, 6 months out of university, mainly because I didn't know much about consulting and getting into it. I mainly joined because of IBM's brand in that market, as well as my interest in technology. Other than that, I didn't really know what I was getting into at that point. What I did figure out very quickly in the early journey to partner at IBM is something that I really relied on during my university days. I wasn't a straight A student in university. I was actually far from it. I got things done. I did things well, but I didn't get straight A's and I didn't attend an Ivy school. What got me through university was grit and perseverance. I had, a part-time job throughout all of university. I opened a bakery at 6 a.m. every morning, and then I would go to class, and then I would go and help chores at the farm. And so I really do think a lot of the way that I've been able to advance my career at IBM is a lot of that grit and willingness to work hard and willingness to do things in the right way, use my network. And so at joining IBM, like I said, I didn't really know all that much what I was getting into, but I was working as a consultant, helping organizations transform their operations. So, whether that's through technology or whether I was through improving some of the ways of working or business processes that they use. So I was joining a team that was helping existing clients determine how they change their ways of working moving forward. And quickly joined an evolving team at that point. So it was kind of a newer area that IBM was looking to get into. I kind of jumped 2 feet right into that and learned as fast as I could. So early joining in my career, I was, a sponge in terms of knowledge and tried to find pockets of opportunity that didn't have as many skilled or capable resources in it at that point. So I could kind of take that and be a niche for myself. And that went really far. So the first kind of 4 years of my career, I was traveling around Canada and the US supporting our clients. Back then, kind of before COVID days, there was a lot of travel in the consulting space. So it was a high expectation that it was, you're on a flight Monday morning, you're back Thursday evening. So I did a lot of that. It was awesome experience. I put work first in a lot of cases from that perspective because it was the right time in my life that I could do that. It was before kids, really focused on growing my career and had really supportive people at IBM to help me jump into those maybe uncomfortable scenarios, but really advance my career. So, I did years of consulting work, helping a variety of different industries, a variety of different clients. And, it was probably about 6 years ago where I was kind of at the point in my career where we were thinking about getting married. We were thinking about having kids in the near future. And my lifestyle of on a plane every Monday and Thursday was probably not sustainable for the future. And so I took a new role. The great thing about if you're, progressing in your career and you can show your adaptability and ability to, take on new areas is it opens up opportunities for you to take other roles, right? So I was offered another role into a bit of a different area of IBM where I would be more focused on go to market for us for consulting services and based in Ottawa, which is where I live, focused on an industry that was really based out of Ottawa. So I took that role. I learned that side of how we operate in our business and, was able to position myself on some really critical accounts through the past work and experience that I had. In all of this time, I also got married. I had my first daughter and really kind of set myself up to lead in an executive role at a couple of our key clients that we were delivering at that time. Then that I think that just progressed into building my a little bit of I would say a book of business for myself within IBM to then excel to the executive level, which is where I am now, leading a part of our business within IBM Canada to be able to do that. So very, very exciting, but I would say that's kind of the journey in a nutshell of how I got to where I am, and really what supported me.
Wow. Oh my God. You had such a good journey. I feel like you said a lot, traveling as a consultant, your values, how you went to the top as an executive. And I feel like maybe that's why made you just decided to like write this book to share your experience, like you just told us a bit. But I don't know, maybe I'm just saying, maybe it's not, maybe it's something different. So just tell me what made you decide to write this book?
Yeah, it's an awesome question. So, you know, in my role, it's really big about supporting and mentoring women at IBM and in those around me. I have a lot of friends in other organizations, and we all need to support each other in progressing our careers within tech. Um, I have a lot of people who reach out to me looking for, coffee chats, mentoring. And I was really finding a way that I wasn't making the impact that I could just based on, space in my calendar time in the day. And so I wanted to really take an opportunity to try to help as many women, young women, in different stages of their career, by writing a guide. It's not a perfect book, it's a guide, it's advice to be able to progress their career and have a bigger reach than I have today. Because I find today I only have a reach into what I have capabilities of helping individual people with, which is fantastic. I love doing it. But really, why I wrote this book was to be able to expand the reach, help more people through mentorship and sponsorship to achieve their path to executive leadership, their path to career growth, as well as having a family life, whatever that may look like for you.
Yeah, I feel like it's a great idea. It's better than have one-on-one like every day. It's like at least you have a guide, a book, and everything is just at one place. And is it based on the question that you used the title Young, Ambition, and Rising? Like why those three words?
Yeah, so it was a, I went through a lot of different titles to try to pick a final title, but I landed on this one for, a couple of reasons. I think young is because I want to help women who are early in their careers trying to shape their foundation. Because I think that's really where, at least from my experience, if you set a really solid foundation, you can then just build on that foundation moving forward, right? Whether that is different stages of life that you're going to go through, what different roles that you're going to go through. But if you set a really strong foundation early on in your career, I think it really helps catapult you. So the focus was on, young women who are either in university, who are early in their career, who are later in their career looking to make a move, but really focus on that. The second is ambition. So sometimes ambition can be seen as a word people don't like to use, maybe a negative word. I really wanted to put it in the title because I want people to realize that I try to own that word. I think others should own that word and not hide from it, not apologize for it. I think it's a really strong word, and we as women are allowed to be ambitious. It's not a bad thing. And then rising, I, everyone is looking to rise in their own way, whether it's professionally in their career to another role, in their family, in their personal lives. A lot of people who are probably listening to this have ambition and want to take their life or something to the next level. And so helping people achieve a rise in their career or personal life was the last thing. So again, it's not, this isn't, it's not a rule book. It's not a, set in stone. It's more of a guide that will help people, put the right practices in place, the right experiences, and even use some of my experiences as their own, to help them progress in their career.
Mhm. I can really relate to the title of your guide because especially what you said about ambitious. Because I feel too like when I say that I'm ambitious woman or I have ambition, sometimes what people will tell me is like, yeah, but calm down, like you'll have kids or you'll get married. Like not everything is about the job or side hustles. We're like in this culture of like side hustle. And I just feel bad sometimes using this word. So I feel validated with what you said right now that, as a woman, I can use the word ambitious and there's nothing wrong with it. And so I really like the title. And I'll just ask you, like, who is this book for? And what do you want most, what do you most want them to walk away believing? Just let's say someone asked me that will read your book.
Yeah, I think it's for you know, all types of women in all different situations in all different stages of life. I think that it could be really relevant for um early career professionals just entering into their profession. I think it could be really relevant for people who are going through maybe a transition in their personal life, whether that is family related, personal related, a career move, an opportunity to move. I think understanding what season of life that you're in, and how to make, structured decisions based on that and foresee, what your 3-year goal is, what your 5-year goal is. I want people to read this book and get inspired by it, be related by it, and really, hopefully, it helps you, make some key decisions in your own life to be able to move your career forward. So, yeah, I think it's targeted towards younger, people in their early part of their career, but I think super relevant for people also who are going through certain situations, whether that be personal life, to figure out how to make some decisions professionally.
Mhm. Okay, and you said it will help us to take key decision. So is there something like me I have to do? Like, what do those people listening to you have to do to actually set themselves up to rise? Like, what does it actually take to set yourself up to rise?
Um, so it's a great question. I think, building, like I mentioned, I'm really, strong on the fact that if you can build a really strong foundation and leverage the mentors and sponsors potentially around you to help you create the visibility that you need, to be able to do that, I think that really, really helps. Um, start with clarity in what you want to achieve in that. I think that's super clear. If you know what you're looking to achieve in your career or your family life, it really helps you figure out what the decisions you need to make now that are going to help you in the future, right? So yeah, I think it's really around setting the right foundation. And what I have really, really, I mentioned at the beginning, but I will say it again, what I've really, really found now that I'm 12 years into my own career is that grit and hard work and perseverance and commitment to your word goes a really, really, really long way. I can't stress that enough. I mean, you don't need to be the smartest person in every room. You need to be the one that is situationally aware, the one that is going to, stay in it for the long haul, get really good quality work done, meet your commitments when you make commitments. Um, the skills come and go, especially in this day and age with AI, right? We are all going to have to learn to work differently in the next year to 5 years. And so as long as you have adaptability and grit, I think it really sets a really strong foundation for you.
Yeah, I actually agree with what you said, especially to the commitment and always be reliable also can help you go further in your career. But I feel like some women and maybe men also, when they try to, stay persevere and they're in some places, I feel like they have what we call imposter syndrome. And I would just want you to give us an advice, like how do you handle imposter syndrome? And also at an executive level, I don't know if you still experience it, and if you do, if you can just share it with us.
Yeah, absolutely. So I absolutely do still experience that probably on the daily or if not weekly. I think that everyone, whether they admit it or not, it always experiences imposter syndrome depending on the situation you're in, right? And depending on the level. So someone earlier in their career might experience that. And then, through putting yourself in those uncomfortable situations, you'll, next time you're in that situation, you won't have imposter syndrome, but then you're going to be in another situation that is uncomfortable where you're experiencing imposter syndrome. So, I still experience that on the daily. I would say, I can't remember where I got this advice, but the one advice that I got was the superwoman pose. I don't know if anyone's heard about that, but if you are going into a situation where you feel like you have imposter syndrome, you're, not sure if you're feeling like you don't belong in the room or can't speak up. Um, I got the advice one time. I can't remember if it was from a book or not, but um, find somewhere private, whether it's in your car or you're driving to a meeting, whether it's in the washroom, go into the room and you do the superwoman pose, right? So shoulders back, arms down to your side, chin forward, head back, and you tell yourself that you can do it. And I think just resetting your posture and resetting your mindset before you walk into the room sometimes really helps you put yourself in the right frame of mind to tell yourself that you do belong, right? You're in that room for a specific reason. You're wanted there, you have a voice. And, I think it's embracing imposter syndrome. I've found out by now, like you're still going to always face it. It's never going to leave you. It's just going to come up in different areas of either your life or your professional world, right? If you're ambitious and you're continuing to push, it's because you're going to be finding new areas to jump into, which are challenging you in new ways, whether that's with skills or relationships or conversations. And so I think it's always a good thing to continue to experience that because I've figured out now that it's as much as you want it to go away, it never seems to. So I think that's my lesson is it really always try to push yourself to fact that you do belong in the room and speak up when you think you need to speak up and don't ever sit in the not at the table. I think there's a lot of people that tend to wait for people to come in and sit on the sides. Just take that seat at the table where you think you belong.
Yes, and I think it can help too if you have people around you that can just support you and just tell us that you can do it, you're able to do it, always helps.
Yeah, absolutely.
And sometimes the people that we have around us is family. So let's see, your mom, in my case, it's my dad, will always tell me, Auréanne, you can do it. You have it all. Like, don't worry, you'll just be the best of the best. And I just want to know, you said you have two kids, you're a mom, you're a wife. So how do you actually balance career and family without burning out, which is the most important thing?
Yeah, $1 million question, I think. Um, So hey, I don't have it all figured out. I'll start by saying that. I will say, um, I figured out a way to really try to integrate my work as well as my family. And everyone will have different boundaries in the terms of work-life integration rather than work-life balance, as well as that comes in different seasons of your life. And so I would say I really try to focus on work life integration rather than balance because I find that being an executive, you can never really 100% kind of turn it off. I joke with my husband sometimes. So he's an electrician here in Ottawa, and he can't really take his work home, right? Like he works at a large kind of data center in Ottawa, and he runs a team there. But other than sending a few emails at home, like it's very hands on. So he has the ability, and some of us do probably on the call to kind of stop work when you leave at 4 or 5. I find a lot of jobs now, especially after COVID, you're always connected, whether it's on your laptop, your phone, whether you have two phones. Sometimes people do that. Different things work for different people. I think, for me, everyone knows me. There's probably some people on this call where, I'm often in the car. I work a little bit away from the office. So if you're, calling me between 7 and 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm normally in the car as well as from, 4:30 till 6. And so it's just a reality that I've got to pick up my kids. Sometimes I have kids in the car, and people are going to hear some of the kids talking or asking for snacks. I think that allowing that to be exposed at work is okay. And people will get to know you a little bit better. I try to normalize that a little bit more because I know that a lot of people that I work with also have young kids, or whether it be aging parents and need some flexibility there. So I really try to integrate that. I would say the other big thing is, the mental load that I think we all carry, whether it be as mothers, as parents, as, personal life versus professional life. Sometimes it can be pretty heavy. I try to shut that off when I can at home and really be present when I need to be present at home, and present when I need to be at work. Um, but it absolutely is a balancing act. I think the other thing that I will mention that I try to do to help me with the load and the balancing is I try to outsource what doesn't, bring me joy or takes up some of my time. So, one of the big things I joke about my husband now is like, I don't know the last time we've went to a store in a long time. Like I am all in on the Costco same day delivery. I'm all in on the grocery pickups. I'm in on Amazon. Um, we have a house cleaner that comes every couple of weeks because when I'm home, I don't want to spend my time doing that. So it's kind of, figuring out what you can outsource in your own personal life to make that balancing act a lot easier, and also making it normal that we don't have professional lives and personal lives. It's fully integrated. And I think that needs to be embraced, especially for working mothers in this industry, to make that a little bit more normalized, that, those aren't two separate things. And it's not about just balancing, it's about integrating.
I can imagine how many subscriptions you have, Caitlin.
Yeah, that we shouldn't look at.
You talked about two phones. I have three phones, by the way, and I feel like it's getting a bit much. And sometimes I feel like I don't protect myself enough. Like I try to put some apps off, like 10 minutes a day, but I feel like I don't do much. So just tell me, like, how can you protect yourself from running out empty? Because I feel like that's what's happening to me and probably others too.
Yeah, it's a great question. I think early on in my career, I used to carry things a lot heavier in terms of things that would take up my mind space, or, mess up my sleep at night if I had a big meeting the next day. Because it's the mental load, I think, that carries with all of us, right? It's the work, but it's also the mental load that sometimes comes with that. Like, what do I have going on tomorrow? I've got this big meeting, or I haven't done these 5 things, or, my to-do list keeps growing. But then you also want to be present. So are you present, but also thinking outside of that is sometimes really hard. So, um, some like I think some of it comes through experience and failure, or a realization that, stressing about something for 24 hours didn't do you any good, and it went just fine. Some of it's just increasing your own confidence in your abilities. And so, I truly remember not being able to sleep sometimes before I had a big client workshop the next day. And after you go through that 5 times, and you handle curveballs that get thrown at you every, because that happens all the time. You can't avoid that. And you get better and better at just handling those curveballs, that you're like, okay, I can probably tackle this. It's not stressing me out as much. And so I think that's part of it, is just trying to realize that it is just work sometimes, and stressing about it and it taking up all your mental load is probably, you can't control it sometimes, but as you get more experience and more confidence in your ability to be adaptive, to be confident in those rooms, and to have a good support system, really helps you, I would say, share that mental load outside of just your own head. Um, I would say the other big piece, I would say, is having a really strong support system, to try to eliminate burnout. if you have a strong support system at work, but also in terms of your personal life, I think it really, really helps. I have my mother and my mother-in-law who help a lot with the kids if I need to be at a meeting late. But also are super encouraging to help. If we need a night out for some self-care, they're right there to help us. So figuring out what that support system looks like for you, so you have the opportunity to kind of step away, I think also really really helps.
That's a good point. My mom keeps telling me that I should have my kids right now since she still have energy. Where she's too old and she can take care of my kids. So that's good. And you said earlier that we should just combine personal life and career, but like how do we do when we feel like career and family pull us in different direction? How do we decide? What do we do?
Yeah, it's so I think everyone will, depending on the season of life that you're in, you will have to make some strategic decisions. And if you're, A type, sometimes you will, write down a list of pros and cons of this. Um, and so, recent story about this, I was offered a position that was, kind of a position I was entertained for at the organization. Um, I would say it was a step up from what I'm doing right now. I was excited about it. I was anxious about it. I had to make a decision pretty quickly. It was going to involve some more travel, a little bit of animosity in that, and I kept asking myself, is it the right move for me? And then I started to change my mindset of, okay, is it the right move for me right now in my life? And I think that that is a really strong question to ask, because not all change is right for people in the right moment that they're in. And I ended up creating like a seasonal alignment worksheet for myself, which I turned into something, that other people could use in my book, because it was like chicken scratch for myself. But weigh out the pros and cons of things, right? Because there's going to be points in your career that you want to take some step forwards and it's the right time for you. But then there's going to be points in time where you want to, whether it's taking that 3 week vacation with your family, which, I did that last year. I was so scared to do it because I've never been away from work for that long, other than with when I was off with my kids. But it's, figuring out what makes sense for you at that point and making the decisions based on, where you are today with your family, your personal life and your work life, and really trying to balance the decision there. So there's no silver bullet to being able to do that, but it really is figuring out where you are today, where you want to be in 3 years. And what I will say is opportunities present themselves to people who are ambitious, who have grit, who have potential. And if an opportunity comes to you, but it's not right for you right now, there's going to be another opportunity that will come. Right. So I'm really, really strong on that people who have grit and who persevere and who are trusted in the company their name will continue to come up if you have the right sponsors and mentors for new opportunities that come.
Okay, and how do women navigate in this type of spaces, like in those rooms without losing themselves?
That's a great question. So I think so. This is around, sometimes as a woman, um, you know, you might be the only one in the room, right? Or you're outnumbered quite a bit. I think that making sure that you have the confidence and you're telling yourself that you belong in the room. I think a lot of people feel sometimes that they can be seen as whether it be aggressive or too ambitious or trying to take over the room. I think try to tell yourself that you're there for a reason. You're in the role you are for the reason, and stand up tall when you go into those rooms or in those meetings. You have a voice. I think find the right opportunities to jump in and and really try to add value. I would say, sometimes we're on Teams calls. I would say all of us right now, and there's a lot of people on the Teams call. Sometimes it's hard to jump in or get a point or what have you, or sometimes you just have to take over and drive to get to the outcome that you want to get to. I would say my perspective is don't shy away from that, but make sure that you're focusing on adding value, not just commentary. Because I think that's where sometimes women tend to fall of just, whether you just agree or not. When you do have a point, try to jump in and add value to the conversation, summarize the action items, follow up with next steps. Everyone is trying to have a meeting to get to certain outcomes, whether it be in that meeting or to progress another conversation. And so if you really just focus on that, you'll have a place in the room, and continue to tell yourself that you're absolutely confident and you should be in those rooms.
Thank you. To everyone, in like about 5 to 10 minutes, we'll start the Q&A period. So don't hesitate to put your questions into the Q&A section. My next question for you will be, what kind of legacy are you building? You said a lot of stuff, and I feel like it's something valuable. So what kind of legacy are you trying to build? And how does leadership at home shape your kids?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, I think I'm trying to leave a legacy, especially for my kids, that working hard, being committed, being trusted, being reliable, um, being kind is going to help you in every aspect of your life. And I hope that they see that through the work that I do, the interactions I have outside of work, but inside of work. I hope they see that through the way that I kind of interact with them as well. I think about this often because everybody has different perspectives on this, but sometimes I get comments. My job is demanding, so I have to drop my kids off at daycare or school around 7, and we pick them up after, and they do after school care at around 4:35. That's a long day for them. Sometimes they don't want to go, sometimes they want to go. I've gotten comments in the past that says, that's a really long day for your kids, a long, you know, don't you want to change that, or don't you want to be at home with them? Yes, ideally, but it doesn't work that way for us. But one of the things I tell my daughter is, if we make a commitment, we've got to continue with it, right? And that goes with school. Sometimes we don't want to go to school. Sometimes we don't want to go to work. We have to. She sees me get up and go to work every day. It really hits me sometimes when she's playing by herself and she's pretending a book is a laptop. So, there's a little bit of that. But she has built already. I'm already seeing the grit that she's building, whether it be falling and getting up on her bike really quickly. She fell off my horse the other day, who's actually pretty tall, and she barely cried. She just got right back on. And so I'm really hoping I'm showing that in all aspects of your life, you can pivot, but our word means a lot. And as long as you're kind and follow through with your word and follow through with commitments, you're going to set a really strong legacy forward. So that's what I'm trying to do. I hope that they realize that someday, but yeah.
Yeah, and I think you should buy her like a fake laptop, girls in STEM.
I absolutely should. Yeah.
So we've been talking for like about 45 minutes now. You said a lot of stuff, interesting stuff. And at the end, I want to know, like, what does it actually look like to design a fulfilling life on your own terms?
Yeah, I think probably sum up everything that I've said. I think that looks different for probably everyone in different ways on this call, but um, trying to take some time for yourself and actually write down what that means for you, I think is really important. What are your goals in the next, 3 years, 5 years, from a personal perspective, family perspective, and work perspective? Where do you want to go? What does success look like for you in each of those areas, and try to like map that out as you progress? I think that's super helpful. For me, it was, I had aspirations to get to associate partner at IBM and then partner. And then in that, I also wanted to start a family, right? I wanted to continue some of my hobbies that I had. And some of that really helped shape some of the decisions in our lives. That's why we still live out where we are, close to our farm, so that it's easy for me to go and, ride when I want to ride, as a 5-minute drive from my house. So really trying to map that out as best as you can. You're going to get curveballs in life as well as in work, and I think it's figuring out how you handle those to be able to move forward. And so for me, you know, I like to feel fulfilled at work because I do really good work for our clients. For us at IBM, we're growing our business, and then at home, raising my kids and also trying to figure out, some things that interest me on the side in terms of whether it be I'm interested in investing these days. I said that to someone a couple of weeks ago. I want to get more into learning how to invest, continue my horse shows, and be really present when I can at home. So I think it's just really around spending the time to figure out what you think will fulfill you in your life, and trying to map that out and plan that out, what that looks like professionally, and then integrate that into your personal life as well.
Thank you. Thank you for this conversation. So now we'll go into the Q&A section. We have a couple of questions. So I understand why you wrote a book. It's way easier than to answer multiple questions. So the first one we have is, how important has networking been in your career? And how can young professionals build meaningful professional relationships?
Great question. Networking and mentoring and sponsoring has been critical in my career. Like it has helped me so much. I think you wouldn't imagine how much relationships help you succeed, help other people succeed, and help create connections and opportunities. So building my network over the past 12 years has been a really big focus as well. Really focused on building, genuine connections with people as well. And what I have found out now that I've progressed in my career is, you don't think about it this way sometimes, but the people that you have made, really working relationships with, if you were in like a really tough project with someone and you were elbow to elbow in a tough situation and you're done that, you're going to run into them in 10 years and they're going to be maybe at a different company, or they're going to be maybe at a different role or back working with you. And so other people progress their career as you progress your career. So relationships that you build early on in your career or now tend to stay with you and help you progress. So building that network is only going to create yourself opportunities, learn from other people, connect with other people, relate to other people. I think that's been super helpful in my career. And then out of that network, trying to figure out who can help you be a mentor, right? Finding the right mentors in your own career is really helpful. And what is even more impactful is finding the sponsors within your organization that are going to help you personally achieve the goals that you want to achieve, and be the ones that are speaking about you when you're not in the room. I think that's the most important thing, right? You need people that are going to advocate for you in your role, and for those promotions or for those opportunities. Your network is what's going to bring you the opportunity. If you're not in the room and they're talking about a new role or a new opportunity, you want someone to be able to bring your name up, right? To say, hey, that she'd be really great at that. And so network has been really, really important throughout my journey.
Thank you. And we have two other questions related to mentors and sponsors. So I think you can answer them at the same time. The next question is, what is the best way to seek for mentors and or sponsors, and how can someone make the most of it? And also, I think I'll ask you the next question so you see how you can answer it, is how do you identify sponsors and build enough connections for them to advocate for you in the right spaces?
Amazing. So I think the best way to identify a mentor is, find somebody that you want to emulate. Find somebody who either has something in common. The best way I've found is someone who has someone in common with you that's normally more senior or in a role that you want to become, and has knowledge of the work that you're doing, or the person that you are. I think having a slight connection, or help getting your leader to help you make that connection with that person. I would say I do get a lot of asks to be mentors. I'm absolutely open to that. And one of the things is is I'm like this, but also other people that I seek as mentors, people are very, very open if you have the courage to ask them. And so, if there is one person that you're seeking that you think would provide a lot of advice for you within the organization, or is in a role that you want to take, I would just go out and ask them. I would go out and ask them, and if they don't feel like they're the right person, their network might have the right person for you. And so I think it's really just being a bit bold and going out and asking that person, but finding the person that really you think will provide you the right advice and career support. So I think that's about a mentor. I would say sponsorship is a little bit, I would say, my perspective, it needs to be a little bit more structured, and it needs to be someone who is in kind of a decision-making role for you and in the right rooms at your organization. So someone that has, authority and decision-making power at the executive level would be a really strong sponsor, and somebody who is going to be personally invested in your success is somebody who you need as a sponsor. And that's really going to help you. People need to speak about you when you're not in the room, right? And finding a sponsor within your organization. Sometimes organizations have programs to help you with that. Otherwise, again, you might need to go out and be bold. Someone that's higher up in your reporting line, or somebody that you have a great relationship with, to personally ask them to sponsor you, so that they're going to advocate for you when you're not there. How do you make the most of it? I think, being really prepared and having some thoughtful questions or some situations or challenges when you're meeting with these people, I think is really good. I think often we get really busy, and sometimes we go into these, formal mentoring sessions not as prepared, or expecting that person to share everything with us. I think, as a mentee and a mentor, I think the best way is to go in with some areas that you're looking for help on, and being prepared, giving them some space to think as well to best support you. And being really open and candid, I would say. I think these relationships are supposed to be super organic and natural, and the more that you can be comfortable sharing, I think that the better and more you'll get out of the relationship, as well as the mentor.
Thank you. It was a really good answer. The next question is, looking back, there's always a 2020 vision. So what would you tell your younger self now, and what is the one advice you will give to rising women in tech?
I would say stay gritty. I would just say stay gritty and keep going, because I don't think I'd realized how much grit would get me in my career until I've kind of gotten to myself now. So, stay bold, stay confident, keep looking for those opportunities. It's going to feel uncomfortable, as you keep going, but just keep pushing. And yeah, I would just say that simple word, stay gritty.
Thank you. Next questions. I've been into maternity twice after joining the company, but I did some major delivery as a DevSecOps engineer. But post, it feels like I'm losing a lot of context and do not have any guide to get queries cleared, and I feel more burnt out. It sometimes really demotivate us that our worth is not considered. So what would you advise her, or like how should she move forward?
All right. Well, first of all, I'm sorry that you're feeling that way. I would say, I can get that. Reintegrating back into the organization after taking a little bit of time off is, well, to me, was a little bit, I was worried about it, right? Because, things move fast. I would say, try to find that one person who can be your buddy, I would say, right, in the organization as you're integrating back in. Find your peers, leverage your peers to help support you, create a support system for yourself if you can. And I would say, if it's a viable option, talk to your manager about how you feel, right? I think women integrating back into the workplace after taking some time off with children is overlooked sometimes. It is definitely challenging now that I've done it twice. And so we definitely need the support system around us. And if you're not feeling supported right now, try to seek that. Talk to your leaders, talk to your peers about it, and try to create that support system for you. And yeah, I'd happy to chat with you too and see if there's anything else I can help with.
Yes, everyone, you should connect with Caitlin on LinkedIn. I'll send you guys a link right after the next question, which is, does longevity in a company help in building expertise? How do you still build visibility when you have a career that is not in the same organization?
Can you repeat the question? Oh, you're on mute. I think you're on mute.
Does how long you are in the company help in building expertise? And can you still be visible when you have a career that is not in the same organization?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that if you are earlier on in your career, you can still build expertise in a certain area. What I would say is we need to be sponges in terms of knowledge, building up your knowledge, be open-minded all the time to learn new things, take on new challenges. And I'm still trying to do that today, right? I think early on in my career that really helped. I'm still trying to have that mindset of growth. Um, and I think, uh, constantly looking at opportunities to increase your expertise would be something I would definitely suggest. Um, yeah, I hope that helped. Not sure if I answered the question fully, but
I think it did. Thank you. We have about like 3 to 4 minutes left. So do you have something else you want to add, like something that you're thinking about now after seeing all of those questions?
I would just say thank you everyone for joining. I hope this was valuable for you. I'm really excited to launch my book. I'm hoping it's going to come out in a couple of weeks. I'm just doing some final updates to it. Keep an eye out on social media as well as LinkedIn. And I hope that it's going to provide some of you some help wherever you are in your career and your family life and your journey to executive leadership. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I think I have one last question, which is, what's one advice that you received early in your career that still, helps you today?
Um, One thing that really stuck to me was, in 2 seconds, I was in a workshop with a client. I was like a year into my career. I was leading a conversation and I got asked a question. I had no idea what the answer was. And I literally said, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. And it stuck with me today because I got feedback after that session that says like, Caitlin was leading this meeting and she didn't know how to answer the question. Um, I took that away. It really hit me because I did not show confidence in that. I could have dealt with the situation a lot differently where I have to take this away. I've got to check with the experts. So dealing with those situations, but more importantly is use your organization's others experiences, every experience that you are in, use that as your own to build up your own confidence and your learnings and lessons and experience. We do the apprenticeship model for a reason in organizations, is to share people's knowledge and experience with somebody else. And so that was something early in my career that I really stuck with. So if you're in a meeting, try not, and you're not leading the meeting, try to listen, try to observe, what are other people doing, how are people acting, what are people saying. Sometimes we tune out and do emails. I mean, every situation you can learn from other people and take that as your own learning and apply it next time. And so that's something early on in my career that really stuck with me, and I still try to do it today because if you go with that mindset, you'll find yourself taking somebody else's example and using it in another conversation, and that's yours now. And that's the beauty of collaboration and learning from each other. And yeah, that's one thing I would say it's really stuck with me.
Thank you. Thank you, Caitlin, for today. Like I said, you can connect with her on LinkedIn to ask even more questions. I feel like more questions are coming right now. And yet the recording will be available on YouTube. So I'll send an email to all of you guys. So stay tuned to your emails and I'll let you know when the recording is on YouTube. And thank you so much. We'll just, stay tuned when you have your book out. So I think we'll be able to send an email also to all of those people attending when the book is out so they all know when it's out and we can all buy it and have a copy. So thank you, Caitlin, for today. I learned a lot and I hope it was a pleasure for you to be with us too. I think so, you said so.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys so much. I love it.
Thank you. Have a good day, everyone. See you
Bye.
soon. Bye.